Hello, YouTube fans. It's Dr. Matthew Johnson. It is Sunday morning on June 14th. And 2020, by the way. Yay, 2020, what an awesome year. Anyway, we're at Camp Xanue, and this is our testimonial morning for those who spent Saturday night, but we did have some people show up on Friday night, so they may share testimonials from both nights. So we're going to get started with Don Lizer. Hey, Don.
Woo!
Yay!
Good morning. I'm from Graham, Washington, and I'm going to start off with Friday.
Friday night, yeah.
Friday night had a lot of activity, at least for me anyway. Lots of orbs to start off the night, lots of rustling in the trees. You could see little ones running around, and that was before Matt even started the night off. Lots of flashing lights going up the trees, and I ended up seeing a vortex 3 different times, and let's see what else. Saw so much. The key points of some of them that I did was I just kept getting this feeling that I needed to close my eyes and kind of tune out for a few minutes, and then when I'd open my eyes, everything was brighter. It was more like looking at dusk time versus at nighttime. And I ended up seeing an actual, like a door opening. I could see the shape that you would see in a hallway if the hallway was lit up and you open the door, seeing the light come through. And that happened twice for me on Friday night. And lots of energy, of course. And then Saturday, last night, I ended up going up to the meadow an hour before we started the night sit, and I was hearing a lot of chatter. I was seeing a lot of movement, and so I took some pictures and ended up seeing some stuff in the pictures. I saw a couple of orbs with my own eyes, and then I caught some on the pictures. And then during the night sit behind the wood pile, ended up seeing the big red glow again and lots of eyes. During the light show that Brittany did, at a couple of points I could see 10 or more silhouettes in the background watching, which I thought was really cool. And again, lots of orbs, lots of energy.
Awesome. Thank you, Don. You.
I am Keith. Friday night was the most activity that I've seen since I've been here, and I've been here quite a few times. Saw lots of orbs, some what I call clockwise rotating swirlies up in the trees, and it was just very colorful. Saw it several times. Lots of little ones peeking up over the wood pile and the high grass foliage that is in front of us. Behind that, they were picking up, looking at us, sitting down. Had never seen that before, so that was awesome. Last night, I was more enthralled with the flying orbs. There was 2 orbs that I know that came out of the high grass foliage and flew right over our heads. And I'm not talking 20 feet, I'm talking inches above our head. And I was so interested, I turned around to see if I could still see it. Of course I didn't, but it was amazing. You could see him come up and make a 90-degree turn. It wasn't a bug, it wasn't dust. There's too much rain to be dust. Absolute colors were just brilliant last night. Of course, we have a great group of people with high energy, and of course that always helps. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Thank you, sir. Hello.
Hello, I'm Ron from Yelm, Washington. Let's see, Friday night. I did see Zorth from up from the meadow looking down behind the wood pile when Dr. Matt was standing in front of the wood pile. But that was about all I saw that night. However, when we turned to our cots, my wife and I, and we have a canopy covering both of our cots, a tarp, the lights from the house were shining on the tarp, And at one moment I turned over and I looked past my wife, and there was a silhouette of a Bigfoot leaning under the cot, and then get up, stand up, and walk around the back where I couldn't see it anymore because it was out of the light, so his silhouette was not shining on the tarp.
Cool.
Last night, again, I saw Zorp standing by the tree before even Matt went down there. I saw, for me, perceived the trees, the one that's in the middle of the field, and the other ones, one of the other ones, shimmering and shining, glowing, off and on all during the night. I did also make out forms in the grass of little ones, silhouettes though, only silhouettes, at one point. And that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello, I'm Cheryl. I'm from Longview, Washington. I only stayed Saturday night. So my one night here, when we went down to the meadow to sit down, it was starting to get dark out. I sat in my chair and I started looking into the woodpile area, and as it started getting darker, I was seeing more and more shadows of more adults, their shadows coming out and being more distinct. Then Matt announced that we had a lot of little ones in front of the group, and I looked down and I had several little ones sitting in front of my chair, and I leaned down and leaned my hands down, and my hands were tingling. I could feel a little bit of warmth, and I could see very subtle, very small orbs all around my chair. And that was, to me, was the highlight of the evening. I always like to see the little ones, and it seems to me I'm seeing them more and more. But that was the highlight of my evening, and I had a great time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Regina Horn from Daphne, Alabama. Friday, when we got here in the daytime, while we were setting up, I was taking a lot of photos. That's the main way that I interact with them at home and here. I just take a lot of photos, and then I find them everywhere, and there are a lot here. And I can see the shimmery images in the day when there's light. It looks like mirage, desert mirage heat, like wavy air. But I don't have as good of luck at nighttime. One thing I did get to see last night is when the little ones were coming up in front of us. I put my hands out, and they, you could feel when they start to touch your fingers, and then everything starts to go black where they are touching. I guess you're becoming invisible. And so I felt that, and I saw that. And there was a little one that I could see. It was like black, swirly, moving. I could see one. And let's see, Friday, I don't think I left out anything Friday. Now, last night, I had a very bad sinus headache, and for like 2 hours, I did not feel well. And I was sitting in my chair at the night sit, and I was thinking, if I could just get rid of this headache, I would have a much better interaction and a better night sit. And it wasn't 30 seconds even that I started to feel this really strong tingling on my head, and it went away. And then last night I slept all night. I don't do that. I wake up every 2 hours. I slept all night, and I do not have the crunchies that I hear in my neck.
Nice.
I have none.
Yay. That's awesome. Thank you.
Hi,
Hello. Who are you?
I'm Lauren from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So Friday, when I went down to the woodpile, I saw flashes of white light, and then when I went up to Contenceria, I felt this really warm pressure all around my head, and all of my worries went away, and I felt really safe and happy, and that was really wonderful. And then last night, I saw small red beams of light, and I could see little silhouettes down by the woodpile.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Brittany from Layton, Utah. So Friday night, the first night I was here, we did the night sit, and it was really active that night. It was really cool. I got to see a whole bunch of the orbs, a whole bunch of shimmering images. It was just really active, and it was just a lot of fun seeing that. When I went down to the woodpile, it was pretty cool down there too. Had a couple interactions there that were cool. And then when I went to bed that night, I could hear him walking around. I could hear him chattering, and I fell asleep. And I would wake up occasionally. I could still hear him, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, it went dead silent. All the frogs down in the pond stopped. Like, just everything went dead silent. And I got into my head a little bit because I was like, oh my gosh, well, what's coming up from the pond? Like, and so I just laid there, like really still, and I kept my eyes shut. And like 30 seconds after it went dead silent, all of a sudden I felt this huge tongue lick the top of my forehead. And I know. But so if you heard a scream Friday night, I don't know if I screamed or not. I tried to stay cool, but it caught me really off guard. And then after that, I went back to sleep, and like I could still hear them, and throughout the night. But I know. But yeah, and then yesterday, last night, it was really cool. The night sit, there's just a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy, and then when I went to bed, there wasn't much last night, but right when I climbed into bed, I heard these really, really heavy, loud footsteps walk up to my cot, and then I could smell whoever was there. Like, it was a really strong smell, and then I was out. I was out till like 6:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And she also put on an awesome dance performance last night, right, everybody? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Hello.
Hey, I'm Sheila from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Let's see. On Friday, during the night sit, when I went up to see Cantu and Saria, I felt warmth on the back of my neck, which was pretty cool. But I think that's all I felt that night. However, during the sleep that night, there was something around me. There was twice that I heard. You wouldn't hear anything other than a few drops off the trees occasionally, and then I heard a lot of drops and something going on right beside me. And of course I'm looking, and I didn't see anything, but I know something was there. Yesterday, during the night sit, Matt said that there were young ones in front of us, and so I put my hands out. And I'm real bad about questioning myself. Do I really feel this? Because I'm in a lot of pain, and I will explain my pain issue in just a second. But I did feel something on the tips of my fingers. And then last night, Regina and I have similar stories as far as sleeping. I don't sleep. But last night I slept.
Nice.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And the photos, Regina takes a lot of photos, and I can see faces. I can see them now in the photos. Really, really neat. And I know there's a lot of them here. I had a hip replacement in March, and it's slipped out 3 times since. I dislocated, and I've had to have it put in. And then the night before we were to leave at 7 a.m., or that afternoon, it dislocated, and I had to go to the emergency room. They wanted to admit me because it had slipped out 3 times.
Wow.
And I told them no, I had to be on a plane at 7 a.m. to come to Washington.
Wow.
So it was worth it. It's well worth it. I wanted to come.
That is serious dedication. Thank you for coming.
It's been wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, I'm Tracy. I live in the center of the universe, also known as Pendleton, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 3rd year that I've been here. I've been here, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. But I came in on Friday also with Brittany, and there was a lot of energy activity going on, like Don and Keith had mentioned. See the trees lighting up, and I can't even describe the lights. There was a lot of red lights and blue lights also that I could see, and a lot of activity around in the bushes, of course. And then last night was a nice evening with the light show and the dance. I did not know that was going to happen. That was a pleasant surprise too.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it came time for me to go to bed. It was getting a little bit chilly, and I don't know what the deal is, but I've had some battery issues last night. I have an overnight kit that I take with me everywhere, and I have a battery-operated toothbrush in my overnight kit that I don't use often because I travel only occasionally. And I'm prefacing this with that. But last night it came time to go to bed, and I have my phone with me, which I use as my flashlight also. And I'm on the 3 o'clock path out there, and there's still several people sitting in the meadow, and I decide not to use my flashlight because there's the glow rocks there, and I can kind of see where I'm going. And when I get up to leave, I notice that I have 20% battery, and I go over to the trail, and I make my way down because I don't want to turn the light on with people there. And part way down the trail, I go to turn on my phone light, and my phone doesn't turn on. I can't get it to turn on. And then I keep pushing the button, and then it flashes for just a second, then there's a red circle in it, and it just goes out. So I thought, okay, I guess maybe I'm not supposed to turn the light on. That's okay, but it's really dark on that path, and I'm the only one out there, so there's like no lights, and this is past the glow rocks. And so I'm feeling my way down the path the best that I can, and it's so dark I can't even see where my camp entrance is. I'm just kind of feeling around. I get there, and so I'm feeling around, and I get my cot and know where I'm at and what I'm doing, and I'm fixing to go to bed, and I decide I'm going to take out my hearing aids. And then I thought, no, I'm going to sit here for a while in bed and just listen. And about that time, my hearing aids beep 3 times and go dead.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, no light, I can't hear, I just need to go to bed. So I take my hearing aids out and put them in my hat so that I remember where they are the next morning because it's total dark. And I slept kind of cold last night. I woke up often last night. But as I was walking down the path when it was so dark, I said, okay guys, so here's the thing. If you're gonna like show yourself, be easy on me because I don't have any light and it's gonna make me jump. And nothing happened on my way down there, but after I get settled in my cot, I said, okay, so if you guys want to do anything tonight and come visit, that's okay. But I'm laying there 5 minutes in my cot, and I think Oma has come underneath my cot and just walked underneath my cot. Something walked underneath and like touched me from my back all the way down to my feet, and then went out the end of the cot.
Cool.
Huh.
And then it was done and gone.
Huh.
I thought, okay, I'm okay with that. So this morning I wake up and I get dressed and come into the house to shower, and I get into my overnight kit, and my battery-operated toothbrush that hasn't worked for several months turns on while I'm brushing my teeth. So I don't have the batteries that I did want, and then I do get the battery juice for what I didn't care for. So it was just kind of a funny. I thought to myself that was a good joke.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good joke.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hello.
Hi, my name is Brian. I'm from Bonnie Lake, Washington. And for me, Friday and Saturday nights were both very different. Friday night, as soon as I got to the meadow and sat down, I really had a sense of a lot of presence around me. I heard a lot of walking and moving around in the forest in every direction. And I sat there and I really didn't see much of anything the Friday night except for little pinpricks of light that would disappear really quick. Couldn't really get a handle on them. So Friday night for me was all about hearing, and the forest was alive. After our sitting, I stayed out there, and I heard a lot of whooping, whoop, whoop type noises. Heard an owl. I'm not sure if it was a real owl or them imitating an owl, but it was very loud. And then as I made my way back to my cot, I had pulled out my flashlight because I couldn't really see, and it's a new flashlight with new batteries. It worked for a little bit, and then it started flashing and went out. So I turned it back on, and it came on for a while, and then it went out again. And I said, okay, I get the message, put it back in my pocket, and I walked to my cot. And I got in my sleeping bag, and I laid down, and I was hearing the noises all around me, and I heard heavy footsteps coming up from behind my head. So I kind of just laid there, and I said in my mind, I'm just going to go ahead and go to sleep now. And then I felt, right before I was going to sleep, I did feel a little bit of pressure and touching on my legs. And then I said thank you, and I just kind of drifted off to sleep. Woke up quite often Friday night and heard noises all around me. Just sat and listened. It was amazing. You could just hear movement everywhere. Saturday was more of a visual and emotional experience for me. Saturday, I really saw eyeballs. I saw glowing white eyes, silhouette of a head and shoulder, and I was able to watch them move around the forest behind the woodpile as distinct individual images. And also, I also did see with my naked eye orbs for the first time. I saw a lot of orbs flying around. I did see the glowing lights from the trees going from the base of the tree up. Very, very briefly. It was a very light, white light. And then when I was standing with Xanue and Sharia, I definitely felt energy and prickling sensation on my shoulders and my hands down through my arms. I felt like I was getting a hug, or at least some sort of attention up there, and it was a very peaceful experience. So I was very happy that I was actually starting to see things with my naked eye, and it was a very wonderful experience. Saturday night was very peaceful. I didn't really hear as much of the movement, and when I went back to sleep, and I slept very soundly until this morning. So it's a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you. Last but not least, Mr. Steve Bachman.
Steve from Buckley, Washington. And usually every time I come here, it's fairly quiet for me. I really don't see the orbs or shimmering type things, but what I do, or how the Xanue do interact with me, is in their orb form. And they're very physical with me. They're very pronounced when they land on me. And last night, while we were sitting just after the light show dance, I had a very large orb attached to my left side and give me what some people call zapped. I call them energy kisses. And gave me a great big energy kiss and was there with me for a little bit. And I don't brush it or anything, I just observe it, and then it went away. I went to bed probably 11:30, and I was awakened twice by orbs that interacted with me. And very physical too, not something that, is it there, is it not there? It's it's very, very physical. And twice they woke me up, and then there was during the night, as I would just wake up because I got cold a few times, they would be on my feet pushing down on me, and you could feel them moving around, and so that was pretty much the extent of interaction. It's just an orb that I can't see, very physical interaction that you're very aware of, and very enjoyable to just integrate with them, you know. So yeah,
Cool.
that's what happened.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed the testimonials, and we would like to see you come to a future Camp Xanue weekend event. We still have events scheduled for July and August. All you have to do is go to xanue.com. Xanue is spelled Xanue, xanue.com. Click on the events page and then sign up for July or August. Hope to see you here. And I'm glad all of you guys were here. Thanks, guys.